Henry Roman Faw, Pot Roman II by William Shakespeare. Act I scene I the same. Tell thou the Earl that the Lord Bardolph doth attend him here. His lordship is walked forth into the orchard, please it your honour, knock but at the gate, and he himself wilt answer. What news, Lord Bardolph? Every minute now should be the father of some stratagem. The times are wild, contention, like a hoss full of high feeding, madly hath broke loose and bears down all before him. Noble Earl, I bring you certain news from Shrewsbury. As good as heart can wish, the king is almost wounded to the death, and in the fortune of my lord your son, Prince Harry slain outright, and both the Blunts killed by the hand of Douglas. Young Prince John and Westmoreland and Stafford fled the field, and Harry Monmouth's brawn, the hulk Sir John, is prisoner to your son. Oh, such a day, so fought, so followed, and so fairly won, came not till now to dignify the times, since Caesar's fortunes. How is this derived? Saw you the field? Came you from Shrewsbury? I spake with one, my lord, that came from thence, a gentleman well-bred and of good name, that freely rendered me these news for true. Here comes my servant Travers, whom I sent on Tuesday last to listen after news. My lord, I overrode him on the way, and he is furnished with no certainties more than he haply may retail from me. My lord, Sir John Umfreville turned me back with joyful tidings, and, being better horsed, outrode me. After him came spurring hot a gentleman, almost forspent with speed, that stopped by me to breathe his bloodied horse. He asked the way to Chester, and of him I did demand what news from Shrewsbury. He told me that rebellion had bad luck, and that young Harry Percy's spur was cold. With that, he gave his able horse the head, and bending forward struck his armed heels against the panting sides of his poor jade up to the roll head, and starting so he seemed in running to devour the way, staying no longer question. Ha, again, said he, young Harry Percy's spur was cold, of Hotspur Coldspur, that rebellion had met ill luck. My lord, I'll tell you what, if my young lord your son have not the day, upon mine honour, for a silken point I'll give my barony. Never talk of it. Why should that gentleman that rode by Travers give then such instances of loss? Who he? He was some hilding fellow that had stolen the horse he rode on, and upon my life, spoke at a venture. Look, here comes more news. Yeah, this man's brow, like to a title leaf, foretells the nature of a tragic volume. So looks the strand whereon the imperious flood hath left a witnessed usurpation. Say, Martin, didst thou come from Shrewsbury? I ran from Shrewsbury, my noble lord, where hateful death put on his ugliest mask to fright our party. How doth my son and brother? Thou tremblest, and the whiteness in thy cheek is apter than thy tongue to tell thy errand. Even such a man, so faint, so spiritless, so dull, so dead in look, so woebegone, drew Priam's curtain in the dead of night, and would have told him half his Troy was burnt. But Priam found the fire ere he his tongue, and I my Percy's death ere thou repotst it. This thou wouldst say, your son did thus and thus, your brother thus, so fought the noble Douglas, stopping my greedy ear with their bold deeds. But in the end, to stop my ear indeed, thou hast a sigh to blow away this praise, ending with brother, son, and all are dead. Douglas is living, and your brother, yet, but for my lord your son, why, he is dead. See what a ready tongue suspicion hath. He that but fears the thing he would not know hath by instinct knowledge from others' eyes that what he feared is chanced. Yet speak, Martin, tell thou an earl his divination lies, and I will take it as a sweet disgrace and make thee rich for doing me such wrong. You are too great to be by me gainsaid. Your spirit is too true, your fears too certain. Yet, for all this, say not that Percy's dead. I see a strange confession in thine eye, thou shakest thy head and holdst it fear or sin to speak a truth. If he be slain, say so, the tongue offends not that reports his death, and he doth sin that doth belie the dead, not he which says the dead is not alive. Yet the first bringer of unwelcome news hath but a losing office, and his tongue sounds ever after as a sullen bell, remembered tolling a departing friend. I am sorry I should force you to believe that which I would to God I had not seen. But these mine eyes saw him in bloody state, rendering faint quittance, wearied and outbreathed, to Harry Monmouth, whose swift wrath beat down the never-daunted Percy to the earth, from whence with life he never more sprung up. In few, his death, whose spirit lent a fire even to the dullest peasant in his camp, being bruited once, took fire and heat away from the best-tempered courage in his troops. For from his metal was his pot steeled, which once in him abated, all the rest turned on themselves, like dull and heavy lead. And as the thing that's heavy in itself, upon enforcement flies with greatest speed, so did our men, heavy in Hotspur's loss, lend to this weight such lightness with their fear that arrows fled not swifter toward their aim than did our soldiers, aiming at their safety, fly from the field. Then was the noble Worcester too soon ta'en prisoner, and that furious Scot, the bloody Douglas, whose well-labouring sod had 3 times slain the appearance of the king, gan veil his stomach and did grace the shame of those that turned their backs, and in his flight, stumbling in fear, was took. The sum of all is that the king hath won, and hath sent out a speedy power to encounter you, my lord, under the conduct of young Lancaster and Westmoreland. This is the news at full. For this I shall have time enough to maun. In poison there is physic, and these news having been well, that would have made me sick being sick, have in some measure made me well. And as the wretch, whose fever-weakened joints, like strengthless hinges, buckle under life, impatient of his fit, breaks like a fire out of his keeper's arms, even so my limbs, weakened with grief, being now enraged with grief, are thrice themselves. Hence, therefore, thou nice crutch, a scaly gauntlet now with joints of steel must glove this hand, and hence, thou sickly coif, thou art a god too wanton for the head which princes, fleshed with conquest, aim to hit. Now bind my brows with iron, and approach the raggedst thou that time and spite dare bring to frown upon the enraged Northumberland. Let heaven kiss earth, now let not nature's hand keep the wild flood confined. Let Otta die, and let this world no longer be a stage to feed contention in a lingering act, but let one spirit of the firstborn Cain reign in all bosoms, that, each heart being set on bloody causes, the rude scene may end, and darkness be the barrier of the dead. The lives of all your loving complices lean on your health, the which, if you give aught to stormy passion, must perforce decay. You cast the event of war, my noble lord, and summed the account of chance, before you said let us make head. It was your presurmise that, in the dole of blows, your son might drop. You knew he walked o'er perils on an edge, more likely to fall in than to get o'er. You were advised his flesh was capable of wounds and scars, and that his forward spirit would lift him where most trade of danger ranged. Yet, did you say, go forth? And none of this, though strongly apprehended, could restrain the stiff-born action. What hath then befallen, or what hath this bold enterprise brought forth, more than that being which was like to be? We all that are engaged to this loss knew that we ventured on such dangerous seas, that if we wrought our life 'twas 10 to 1, and yet we ventured, for the gain proposed choked the respect of likely peril feared, and since we are all set, venture again. Come, we will all put forth, body and goods. 'Tis more than time, and, my most noble lord, I hear for certain, and do speak the truth, the gentle Archbishop of York is up with well-appointed powers. He is a man who with a double surety binds his followers. My lord your son had only but the copse, but shadows and the shows of men, to fight. For that same word, rebellion, did divide the action of their bodies from their souls, and they did fight with queasiness, constrained as men drink potions, that their weapons only seemed on our side. But, for their spirits and souls, this word, rebellion, it had froze them up, as fish are in a pond. But now the bishop turns insurrection to religion, supposed sincere and holy in his thoughts, he's followed both with body and with mind, and doth enlarge his rising with the blood of fair King Richard, scraped from Pomfret stones, derives from heaven his quarrel and his cause, tells them he doth bestride a bleeding land, gasping for life under great Bolingbroke, and more and less do flock to follow him. I knew of this before, but to speak truth, this present grief had wiped it from my mind. Go in with me, and counsel every man the aptest way for safety and revenge, get posts and letters, and make friends with speed, never so few, and never yet more need. Exeunt. Scene Roman 2 London. A street. Scene Roman 3 York. The Archbishop's palace. Thus have you heard our cause and known our means, and, my most noble friends, I pray you all, speak plainly your opinions of our hopes. And first, Lord Marshal, what say you to it? I well allow the occasion of our alms, but gladly would be better satisfied how in our means we should advance ourselves to look with forehead bold and big enough upon the power and puissance of the king. Our present musters grow upon the file to 25,000 men of choice, and our supplies live largely in the hope of great Northumberland, whose bosom burns with an incensed fire of injuries. The question then, Lord Hastings, standeth thus, whether our present 25,000 may hold up head without Northumberland. Yea, Mary, there's the point. But if without him we be thought too feeble, my judgment is, we should not step too far till we had his assistance by the hand. For in a theme so bloody-faced as this conjecture, expectation, and surmise of aids uncertain should not be admitted. 'Tis very true, Lord Bardolph, for indeed it was young Hotspur's case at Shrewsbury. It was, my lord, who lined himself with hope, eating the air on promise of supply, flattering himself in project of a power much smaller than the smallest of his thoughts, And so, with great imagination proper to madmen, led his powers to death, and winking leaped into destruction. But by your leave, it never yet did hurt to lay down likelihoods and farms of hope. Yes, if this present quality of war, indeed the instant action, a cause on foot lives so in hope, as in an early spring we see the appearing buds, which to prove fruit, hope gives not so much warrant as despair that frosts will bite them. When we mean to build, we first survey the plot, then draw the model. And when we see the figure of the house, then must we rate the cost of the erection, which if we find outweighs ability, what do we then but draw anew the model in fewer offices, or at last desist to build it all? Much more, in this great work, which is almost to pluck a kingdom down and set another up, should we survey the plot of situation and the model, consent upon a sure foundation, question surveyors, know our own estate, how able such a work to undergo, to weigh against his opposite. Or else we fortify in paper and in figures, using the names of men instead of men, like one that draws the model of a house beyond his power to build it, who, half through, gives awe and leaves his pot-created cost a naked subject to the weeping clouds and waste for churlish winter's tyranny. Grant that our hopes, yet likely of fair birth, should be stillborn, and that we now possess the utmost man of expectation, I think we are a body strong enough, even as we are, to equal with the king. To us no more, nay, not so much, Lord Bardolph. For his divisions, as the times do brawl, are in 3 heads, one power against the French and one against Glendower, perforce a third must take up us. So is the unfirm king in 3 divided, and his coffers sound with hollow poverty and emptiness. That he should draw his several strengths together and come against us in full puissance, need not be dreaded. If he should do so, he leaves his back unarmed, the French and Welsh baying him at the heels. Never fear that. The Duke of Lancaster and Westmoreland against the Welsh, himself and Harry Monmouth, but who is substituted against the French, I have no certain notice. Let us on, and publish the occasion of our arms. The Commonwealth is sick of their own choice, their overgreedy love hath surfeited, and habitation giddy and unsure hath he that buildeth on the vulgar heart. O thou fond many, with what loud applause didst thou beat heaven with blessing Bolingbroke, before he was what thou wouldst have him be? And being now trimmed in thine own desires, thou, beastly feeder, art so full of him, that thou provokest thyself to cast him up. So, thou common dog, didst thou disgorge thy glutton bosom of the royal Richard, and now thou wouldst eat thy dead vomit up and howl'st to find it. What trust is in these times? They that, when Richard lived, would have him die, are now become enamoured on his grave. Thou, that threwst dust upon his goodly head when through proud London he came sighing on after the admired heels of Bolingbroke, creast now, O earth, yield us that king again, and take thou this. O thoughts of men accursed, past and to come seems best, things present worst. Imprint this ebook is the product of many hours of hard work by volunteers for standard ebooks, and builds on the hard work of other literature lovers made possible by the public domain. This particular ebook is based on a transcription from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and on digital scans from the Hathaway Trust Digital Library. The source text and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. They may still be copyrighted in other countries, so users located outside of the United States must check their local laws before using this ebook. The creators of, and contributors to, this ebook dedicate their contributions to the worldwide public domain via the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain Dedication. For full license information, see the uncopyright at the end of this ebook. Standard eBooks is a volunteer-driven project that produces ebook editions of public domain literature using modern typography, technology, and editorial standards, and distributes them free of cost. You can download this and other ebooks carefully produced for true book lovers at Standard Books.org. Induction Walkworth. Before the castle. Open your ears, for which of you will stop the vent of hearing when loud rumor speaks? I, from the Orient to the drooping West, making the wind my post-house, still unfold the acts commenced on this ball of earth, upon my tongue's continual slanders ride, the which in every language I pronounce, stuffing the ears of men with false reports. I speak of peace, while covert enmity under the smile of safety wounds the world, and who but rumor, who but only I, make fearful musters and prepared defense, whiles the big year, swoln with some other grief, is thought with child by the stern tyrant War, and no such matter. Rumor is a pipe blown by surmises, jealousies, conjectures, and of so easy and so plain a stop that the blunt monster with uncounted heads, the still discordant wavering multitude, can play upon it. But what need I thus my well-known body to anatomize among my household? Why is rumor here? I run before King Harry's victory, who in a bloody field by Shrewsbury hath beaten down young Hotspur and his troops, quenching the flame of bold rebellion, even with the rebels' blood. But what mean I to speak so true at first? My office is to noise abroad that Harry Monmouth fell under the wrath of noble Hotspur's sod, and that the king before the Douglas rage stooped his anointed head as low as death. This have I rumored through the peasant towns between that royal field of Shrewsbury and this worm-eaten hold of Ragged Stone, where Hotspur's father, old Northumberland, lies crafty sick. The posts come tiring on, and not a man of them brings other news than they have learned of me. From rumor's tongues they bring smooth comforts false, worse than true wrongs. Exit. Henry Roman IV, Part Roman II by William Shakespeare. Uncopyright may you do good and not evil. May you find forgiveness for yourself and forgive others. May you share freely, never taking more than you give. Copyright pages exist to tell you that you can't do something. Unlike them, this uncopyright page exists to tell you that the writing and artwork in this ebook are believed to be in the United States public domain. That is, they are believed to be free of copyright restrictions in the United States. The United States public domain represents our collective cultural heritage, and items in it are free for anyone in the United States to do almost anything at all with, without having to get permission. Copyright laws are different all over the world, and the source text or artwork in this ebook may still be copyrighted in other countries. If you're not located in the United States, you must check your local laws before using this ebook. Standard ebooks makes no representations regarding the copyright status of the source text or artwork in this ebook in any country other than the United States. Non-authorship activities performed on items that are in the public domain, so-called sweat of the brow, work, don't create a new copyright. That means that nobody can claim a new copyright on an item that is in the public domain for, among other things, work like digitization, mock-up, or typography. Regardless, the contributors to this ebook release their contributions under the terms in the CC 01.0 Universal Public Domain dedication, thus dedicating to the worldwide public domain all of the work they've done on this ebook, including but not limited to metadata, the title page, imprint, colophon, this uncopyright, and any changes or enhancements to, or mock-up on, the original text and artwork. This dedication doesn't change the copyright status of the source text or artwork. We make this dedication in the interest of enriching our global cultural heritage, to promote free and libre culture around the world, and to give back to the unrestricted culture that has given all of us so much. Table of Contents Landmarks, Act Roman II Sinai London, a street. How now, Sir John, what are you brawling here? Doth this become your place, your time and business? You should have been well on your way to York. Stand from him, fellow. Wherefore hangst upon him? The king, my lord, and Harry Prince of Wales are near at hand, the rest the paper tells. No, 1,500 foot, 500 horse are marched up to my lord of Lancaster, against Northumberland and the Archbishop. You shall have letters of me presently. Come, go along with me, good Master Gower. Scene Roman to London, another street. Reads, Sir John Falstaff, knight to the son of the king, nearest his father, Harry Prince of Wales, greeting. Why, this is a certificate, reads. I will imitate the honorable Romans in brevity. He sure means brevity and breath, short-winded. I commend me to thee, I commend thee, and I leave thee. Be not too familiar with Poins, for he misuses thy favours so much, that he swears thou ought to marry his sister Nell. Repent at idle times as thou mayest, and so farewell. Thine, by yare and no, which is as much as to say as thou usest him, Jack Falstaff with my familiars, John with my brothers and sisters, and Sir John with all Europe. My lord, I'll steep this letter in sack and make him eat it. Scene Roman 3 Walkworth. Before the castle, I pray thee, loving wife and gentle daughter, give even way unto my rough affairs. Put not you on the visage of the times and be like them to Percy troublesome. I have given over, I will speak no more. Do what you will. Your wisdom be your guide. Alas, sweet wife, my honor is at pawn, and but my going, nothing can redeem it. Oh, yet, for God's sake, go not to these wars. The time was, father, that you broke your word, when you were more endeared to it than now, when your own Percy, when my heart's dear Harry, through many a northward look to see his father bring up his powers, but he did long in vain. Who then persuaded you to stay at home? There were two honours lost, yours and your son's. For yours, the God of heaven brighten it. For his, it stuck upon him as the sun in the grey vault of heaven, and by his light did all the chivalry of England move to do brave acts. He was indeed the glass wherein the noble youth did dress themselves. He had no legs that practised not his gait, and speaking thick, which nature made his blemish, became the accents of the valiant. For those that could speak low and tardily would turn their own perfection to abuse, to seem like him. So that in speech, in gait, in diet, in affections of delight, in military rules, humours of blood, he was the mock and glass, copy and book that fashioned others. And him, oh wondrous him! Oh miracle of men! Him did you leave, second to none, unseconded by you, to look upon the hideous god of war in disadvantage, to abide a field where nothing but the sound of Hotspur's name did seem defensible, so you left him. Never, oh never, do his ghost the wrong to hold your honour more precise and nice with others than with him. Let them alone, the marshal and the archbishop are strong. Had my sweet Harry had but half their numbers, today might I, hanging on Hotspur's neck, have talked of Monmouth's grave. Beshrew your heart, fair daughter, you do draw my spirits from me with new lamenting ancient oversights. But I must go and meet with danger there, or it will seek me in another place and find me worse provided. Oh, fly to Scotland, till that the nobles and the armed commons have of their puissance made a little taste. If they get ground and vantage of the king, then join you with them, like a rib of steel, to make strength stronger. But for all our loves, first let them try themselves. So did your son, he was so suffered. So came I a widow, and never shall have length of life enough to reign upon remembrance with mine eyes, that it may grow and sprout as high as heaven, for recordation to my noble husband. Come, come, go in with me. 'Tis with my mind as with the tide swelled up unto his height, that makes a still stand, running neither way. Fain would I go to meet the archbishop, but many thousand reasons hold me back. I will resolve for Scotland, there am I, till time and vantage crave my company. Exeunt, Scene Roman for London. The Boar's Head Tavern in Eastcheap. These be good humours, indeed. Shall packhorses and hollow pampered jades of Asia, which cannot go but 30 mile a day, compare with Caesars and with cannibals and Trojan Greeks? Nay, rather damn them with King Cerberus, and let the welkin raw. Shall we fall foul for toys? Then feed and be fat, my fair Callipolis. Come, give some sack. Si fortune me torment, sperato me contento. Fear we broadsides, no, let the fiend give fire, give me some sack, and sweetheart lie thou there, laying down his sword. Come we to full points here, and our et ceteras nothing? What, shall we have incision, shall we embrue, snatching up his sword? Then death ruck me asleep, abridge my doleful days. Why then, let grievous, ghastly, gaping wounds untwine the sisters three? Come, Atropos, I say, the king your father is at Westminster, and there are 20 weak and wearied posts come from the north. And as I came along, I met and overtook a dozen captains, bareheaded, sweating, knocking at the taverns, and asking every one for Sir John Falstaff. By heaven, Poins, I feel me much to blame, so idly to profane the precious time, when tempest of commotion, like the south born with black vapour, doth begin to melt and drop upon our bare, unarmed heads. Give me my sword and cloak, Falstaff, good night. Exeunt Prince Henry, Poins, Peto, and Bardolph. Act Roman 3, Scene I Westminster. The Palace. Go call the Earls of Surrey and of Warwick, but ere they come, bid them o'erread these letters, and well consider of them. Make good speed. Exit page. How many thousand of my poorest subjects are at this hour asleep? O sleep, O gentle sleep, nature's soft nurse, how have I frighted thee, that thou no more wilt weigh my eyelids down and steep my senses in forgetfulness? Why rather sleep, least thou in smoky cribs, upon uneasy pallets stretching thee, and hushed with buzzing night flies to thy slumber, than in the perfumed chambers of the great, under the canopies of costly state, and lulled with sound of sweetest melody? O thou dull god, why least thou with the vile in loathsome beds, and leavest the kingly couch a watch-case or a common larum bell? Wilt thou upon the high and giddy mast seal up the shipboy's eyes, and ruck his brains in cradle of the rude imperious surge, and in the visitation of the winds, who take the ruffian billows by the top, curling their monstrous heads and hanging them with deafening clamour in the slippery clouds, that with the hurly, death itself awakes? Canst thou, O partial sleep, give thy repose to the wet sea-boy in an hour so rude, and in the calmest and most stillest night, with all appliances and means to boot, deny it to a king? Then happy low, lie down. Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown. Why then, good morrow to you all, my lords. Have you read all the letters that I sent you? Then you perceive the body of our kingdom how foul it is, What rank diseases grow, and with what danger, near the heart of it. It is but as a body yet distempered, which to his former strength may be restored with good advice and little medicine, my Lord Northumberland will soon be cooled. O God, that one might read the book of fate, and see the revolution of the times make mountains level, and the continent, weary of solid firmness, melt itself into the sea, and other times, to see the beaky girdle of the ocean too wide for Neptune's hips, how chances mock and changes fill the cup of alteration with divers liquors. Oh, if this were seen, the happiest youth, viewing his progress through, what perils past, what crosses to ensue, would shut the book, and sit him down and die. 'Tis not 10 years gone since Richard and Northumberland, great friends, did feast together, and in 2 years after were they at Wars. It is but 8 years since this Percy was the man nearest my soul, who like a brother toiled in my affairs and laid his love and life under my foot, yea, for my sake, even to the eyes of Richard gave him defiance. But which of you was by, you, cousin Neville, as I may remember, to Warwick? When Richard, with his eye brimful of tears, then checked and rated by Northumberland, did speak these words, now proved a prophecy. Northumberland, thou ladder by the which my cousin Bolingbroke ascends my throne. Though then, God knows, I had no such intent, but that necessity so bode the state that I in greatness were compelled to kiss. The time shall come. Thus did he follow it. The time will come that foul sin, gathering head, shall break into corruption. So went on, foretelling this same time's condition and the division of our amity. There is a history in all men's lives, figuring the nature of the times deceased, the which observed, a man may prophesy, with a near aim, of the main chance of things as yet not come to life, which in their seeds and weak beginnings lie entreasured. Such things become the hatch and brood of time, and by the necessary form of this King Richard might create a perfect guess that great Northumberland, then false to him, would of that seed grow to a greater falseness, which should not find a ground to root upon, unless on you. Are these things then necessities? Then let us meet them like necessities, and that same word even now cries out on us. They say the bishop and Northumberland are 50,000 strong. It cannot be, my lord. Rumour doth double, like the voice and echo, the numbers of the feared. Please it your grace to go to bed. Upon my soul, my lord, the powers that you already have sent forth shall bring this prize in very easily. To comfort you the more, I have received a certain instance that Glendower is dead. Your majesty hath been this fortnight ill, and these unseasoned hours perforce must add unto your sickness. I will take your counsel, and were these inward wars once out of hand, we would, dear lords, unto the Holy Land. Exeunt. Scene Roman 2 Gloucestershire. Before Justice Shallow's house. Act Roman 4 Scene Yorkshire. Galtree Forest. Here stand, my lords, and send discoverers forth to know the numbers of our enemies. 'Tis well done. My friends and brethren in these great affairs, I must acquaint you that I have received new dated letters from Northumberland, their cold intent, tenor, and substance, thus. Here doth he wish his person, with such powers as might hold sottance with his quality, the which he could not levy. Whereupon he is retired, to ripe his growing fortunes, to Scotland, and concludes in hearty prayers that your attempts may overlive the hazard and fearful melting of their opposite. Thus do the hopes we have in him touch ground and dash themselves to pieces. West of this forest, scarcely off a mile, in goodly form comes on the enemy, and by the ground they hide, I judge their number upon, or near the rate of 30,000. The just proportion that we gave them out let us sway on, and face them in the field. Health and fair greeting from our general, the Prince, Lord John, and Duke of Lancaster. Say on, my Lord of Westmoreland, in peace? What doth concern your coming? Then, my lord, unto your grace do I in chief address the substance of my speech. If that rebellion came like itself, in base and abject routs, led on by bloody youth, guarded with rags and countenanced by boys and beggary, I say, if damned commotion so appeared, in his true, native, and most proper shape, you, reverend father, and these noble lords had not been here, to dress the ugly form of base and bloody insurrection with your fair honours. You, Lord Archbishop, whose see is by a civil peace maintained, whose beard the silver hand of peace hath touched, whose learning and good letters peace hath tutored, whose white investments figure innocence, the dove and very blessed spirit of peace, wherefore do you so ill translate yourself out of the speech of peace that bears such grace, into the harsh and boisterous tongue of war, turning your books to graves, your ink to blood, your pens to lances, and your tongue divine to a trumpet and a point of war? Wherefore do I this? So the question stands. Briefly to this end, we are all diseased, and with our surfeiting and wanton hours have brought ourselves into a burning fever, and we must bleed for it. of which disease our late king, Richard, being infected, died. But my most noble lord of Westmoreland, I take not on me here as a physician, nor do I, as an enemy, to peace troop in the throngs of military men, but rather show a while like fearful war, to diet rank minds sick of happiness, and purge the obstructions which begin to stop our very veins of life. Hear me more plainly. I have in equal balance justly weighed what wrongs our alms may do, what wrongs we suffer, and find our griefs heavier than our offences. We see which way the stream of time doth run, and are enforced from our most quiet there by the rough torrent of occasion, and have the summary of all our griefs, when time shall serve, to show in articles, which long ere this we offered to the king, and might by no suit gain our audience. When we are wronged and would unfold our griefs, we are denied access unto his person even by those men that most have done us wrong. The dangers of the days but newly gone, whose memory is written on the earth with yet appearing blood, and the examples of every minute's instance, present now, hath put us in these ill-beseeming alms, not to break peace or any branch of it, but to establish here a peace indeed, concurring both in name and quality. Whenever yet was your appeal denied? Wherein have you been galled by the king? What peer hath been suborned to grate on you, that you should seal this lawless bloody book of forged rebellion with a seal divine and consecrate commotion's bitter edge? My brother general, the Commonwealth, to brother bond and household cruelty, I make my quarrel in particular. There is no need of any such redress, or if there were, it not belongs to you. Why not to him in part, and to us all that feel the bruises of the days before, and suffer the condition of these times to lay a heavy and unequal hand upon our honours? Oh, my good Lord Mowbray, construe the times to their necessities, and you shall say indeed, it is the time, and not the king, that doth you injuries. Yet for your part, it not appears to me either from the king, or in the present time that you should have an inch of any ground to build a grief on. Were you not restored to all the Duke of Norfolk's seigneuries, your noble and right well-remembered fathers? What thing in honour had my father lost, that need to be revived and breathed in me? The king that loved him, as the state stood then, was fas perforce compelled to banish him. And then that Harry Bolingbroke and he, being mounted and both roused in their seats, their neighing causes daring of the spur, their armed staves in charge, their beavers down, their eyes of fire sparking through sights of steel, and the loud trumpet blowing them together. Then, when there was nothing could have stayed my father from the breast of Bolingbroke. Oh, when the king did throw his water down, his own life hung upon the staff he threw. Then threw he down himself, and all their lives that by indictment and by dint of sod have since miscarried under Bolingbroke. You speak, Lord Mowbray, now you know not what. The Earl of Hereford was reputed then in England the most valiant gentleman, who knows on whom fortune would then have smiled. But if your father had been victor there, he ne'er had bonnet out of Coventry, for all the country in a general voice cried hate upon him, and all their prayers and love were set on Hereford, whom they doted on and blessed and graced indeed, more than the king. But this is mere digression from my purpose. Here come I from our princely general to know your griefs, to tell you from his grace that he will give you audience, and wherein it shall appear that your demands are just, you shall enjoy them, everything set off that might so much as think you enemies. But he hath forced us to compel this offer, and it proceeds from policy, not love. Mowbray, you overween to take it so. This offer comes from mercy, not from fear, for lo, within a ken our army lies, upon mine honour, all too confident to give admittance to a thought of fear. Our battle is more full of names than yours, our men more perfect in the use of arms, our armour all as strong, our cause the best. Then reason will our heart should be as good, say you not then our offer is compelled. That argues but the shame of your offence. A rotten case abides no handling. Hath the Prince John a full commission, in very ample virtue of his father, to hear and absolutely to determine of what conditions we shall stand upon. That is intended in the general's name. I muse you make so slight a question. Then take, my lord of Westmoreland, this schedule, for this contains our general grievances, each several article herein redressed, all members of our cause, both here and hence, that are insinued to this action, acquitted by a true substantial form, and present execution of our wills to us and to our purposes confined, we come within our awful banks again, and knit our powers to the arm of peace. This will I show the general. Please you, lords, in sight of both our battles we may meet, and either end in peace, which God so frame, or to the place of difference call the sods which must decide it. There is a thing within my bosom, tells me that no conditions of our peace can stand. Fear you not that. If we can make our peace upon such large terms and so absolute as our conditions shall consist upon, our peace shall stand as firm as rocky mountains. Yeah, but our valuation shall be such that every slight and false derived cause, every idle, nice and wanton reason shall to the king taste of this action, that, were our royal faith smart as in love, we shall be winnowed with so rough a wind that even our con shall seem as light as chaff and good from bad, find no partition. No, no, my lord. Note this, the king is weary of dainty and such picking grievances, for he hath found to end one doubt by death, revives two greater in the heirs of life, and therefore will he wipe his tables clean and keep no telltale to his memory, that may repeat and history his loss to new remembrance. For full well he knows he cannot so precisely weed this land as his misdoubts present occasion. His foes are so enrooted with his friends that, plucking to unfix an enemy, he doth unfasten so and shake a friend, so that this land, like an offensive wife that hath enraged him on to offer strokes, as he is striking, holds his infant up, and hangs resolved correction in the arm that was upreared to execution. Besides, the king hath wasted all his rods on late offenders, that he now doth lack the very instruments of chastisement, so that his power, like to a fangless lion, may offer, but not hold. 'Tis very true, and therefore be assured, my good Lord Marshal, if we do now make our atonement well, our peace will, like a broken limb united, grow stronger for the breaking. Be it so. Here is returned my Lord of Westmoreland. The prince is here at hand. Pleaseth your lordship to meet his grace just distanced 'tween our armies, seen room into another part of the forest. You are well encountered here, my cousin Mowbray. Good day to you, gentle Lord Archbishop, and so to you, Lord Hastings, and to all. My Lord of York, it better showed with you when that your flock, assembled by the bell, encircled you to hear with reverence your exposition on the holy text than now to see you here an iron man, cheering a rout of rebels with your drum, turning the word to sod and life to death. That man that sits within a monarch's heart, and ripens in the sunshine of his favor, would he abuse the countenance of the king, alack, what mischiefs might he set abroach in shadow of such greatness? With you, Lord Bishop, it is even so. Who hath not heard it spoken how deep you were within the books of God? To us the speaker in his parliament, to us the imagined voice of God himself, the very opener and intelligencer between the grace, the sanctities of heaven and our dull workings. Oh, who shall believe but you misuse the reverence of your place, employ the countenance and grace of heaven, as a false favorite doth his prince's name, in deeds dishonorable. You have ta'en up, under the counterfeited zeal of God, the subjects of his substitute my father, and both against the peace of heaven and him have here upswarmed them. Good my Lord of Lancaster, I am not here against your father's peace, but as I told my Lord of Westmoreland, the time misordered doth, in common sense, crowd us and crush us to this monstrous farm, to hold our safety up. I sent your grace the parcels and particulars of our grief, the which hath been with scorn shoved from the cot, whereon this hydra son of war is born, whose dangerous eyes may well be charmed asleep with grant of our most just and right desires, and true obedience of this madness cured, stoop tamely to the foot of majesty. If not, we ready are to try our fortunes to the last man, and though we here fall down, we have supplies to second our attempt. If they miscarry, theirs shall second them, and so successive mischief shall be born, and heir from heir shall hold this quarrel up whiles England shall have generation. You are too shallow, Hastings, much too shallow, to sound the bottom of the after times. Pleaseth your grace to answer them directly how far forth you do like their articles. I like them all, and do allow them well, and swear here, by the honor of my blood, my father's purposes have been mistook, and some about him have too lavishly rested his meaning and authority. My lord, these griefs shall be with speed redressed. Upon my soul, they shall. If this may please you, discharge your powers unto their several counties, as we will ours. And here between the armies let's drink together friendly and embrace, that all their eyes may bear those tokens home of our restored love and amity. I give it you, and will maintain my word, and thereupon I drink unto your grace. Go, captain, and deliver to the army this news of peace, let them have pay and pot, I know it will well please them. Hie thee, captain, exit officer, I pledge your grace, and if you knew what pains I have bestowed to breed this present peace, you would drink freely, but my love to ye shall show itself more openly hereafter. I am glad of it. Health to my lord and gentle cousin, Mowbray. You wish me health in very happy season, for I am, on the sudden, something ill. Against ill chances men are ever merry, but heaviness foreruns the good event. Therefore be merry, cause since sudden sorrow serves to say thus, some good thing comes tomorrow. A peace is of the nature of a conquest, for then both parties nobly are subdued, and neither party loser. Go, my lord, and let our army be discharged too. Exit Westmoreland. And, good my lord, so please you, let our trains march by us, that we may peruse the men we should have coped withal. Go, good Lord Hastings, and, ere they be dismissed, let them march by. Exit Hastings. The letters, having charge from you to stand, will not go off until they hear you speak. My lord, our army is dispersed already. Like youthful steers unyoked, they take their courses east, west, north, south, all like a school broke up, each hurries toward his home and spotting place. Good tidings, my Lord Hastings, for the which I do arrest thee, traitor, of high treason, and you, Lord Archbishop, and you, Lord Mowbray, of capital treason I attach you both. I pawn thee none. I promised you redress of these same grievances whereof you did complain, which, by mine honour, I will perform with a most Christian care. But for you, rebels, look to taste the due meat for rebellion and such acts as yours. Most shallowly did you these alms commence, fondly brought here and foolishly sent hence. Strike up our drums, pursue the scattered stray, God, and not we, hath safely fought today. Some guard these traitors to the block of death, treason's true bed and yielder up of breath. Exeunt. Scene Roman 3. Another part of the forest. The heat is past, follow no further now. Call in the powers, good cousin Westmoreland. Exit Westmoreland. Now, Falstaff, where have you been all this while? When everything is ended, then you come. These toddy tricks of yours will, on my life, one time or other break some gallows back. I am, my lord, but as my betters are that led me hither. Had they been ruled by me, you should have won them dearer than you have. Send Colville with his confederates to York to present execution. Blunt, lead him hence, and see you guard him sure. Exeunt Blunt and others with Colville. And now dispatch we toward the cot. My lords, I hear the king my father is saw sick. Our news shall go before us to his majesty, which, cousin, you shall bear to comfort him, and we with sober speed will follow you. My lord, I beseech you, give me leave to go through Gloucestershire. And when you come to cot, stand my good lord, pray, in your good report. Fare you well, Falstaff? I, in my condition, shall better speak of you than you deserve. Exeunt all but Falstaff. Scene Roman 4. Westminster, the Jerusalem chamber. Now, lords, if God doth give successful end to this debate that bleedeth at our doors, we will our youth lead on to higher fields and draw no swords but what are sanctified. Our navy is addressed, our power collected, our substitutes in absence well invested, and everything lies level to our wish. Only, we want a little personal strength, and pause us, till these rebels, now afoot, come underneath the yoke of government, both which we doubt not but your majesty shall soon enjoy. Humphrey, my son of Gloucester, where is the prince your brother? Nothing but well to thee, Thomas of Clarence. How chance thou art not with the prince thy brother? He loves thee, and thou dost neglect him, Thomas. Thou hast a better place in his affection than all thy brothers. Cherish it, my boy, and noble offices thou mayst effect of mediation, after I am dead, between his greatness and thy other brethren. Therefore omit him not. Blunt not his love, nor lose the good advantage of his grace by seeming cold or careless of his will. For he is gracious, if he be observed. He hath a tear for pity and a hand open as day for melting charity. Yet notwithstanding, being incensed, he's flint, as humorous as winter, and as sudden as flaws congealed in the spring of day. His temper, therefore, must be well observed, chide him for faults, and do it reverently, when you perceive his blood inclined to mirth. But being moody, give him line and scope, till that his passions, like a whale on ground, confound themselves with working. Learn this, Thomas, and thou shalt prove a shelter to thy friends, a hoop of gold to bind thy brothers in, that the united vessel of their blood, mingled with venom of suggestion, as phosphorus the age will pour it in, shall never leak, though it do work as strong as aconitum or rash gunpowder. Most subject is the fattest soil to weeds, and he, the noble image of my youth, is overspread with them. Therefore my grief stretches itself beyond the hour of death. The blood weeps from my heart when I do shape in forms imaginary the unguided days and rotten times that you shall look upon when I am sleeping with my ancestors. For when his headstrong riot hath no curb, when rage and hot blood are his counsellors, when means and lavish manners meet together, oh, with what wings shall his affections fly towards fronting peril and opposed decay? My gracious lord, you look beyond him quite. The prince but studies his companions like a strange tongue, wherein, to gain the language, 'tis needful that the most immodest word be looked upon and learned, which once attained, your highness knows, comes to no further use but to be known and hated. So, like gross terms, the prince will in the perfectness of time cast off his followers, and their memory shall as a pattern or a measure live, by which his grace must meet the lives of others, turning past evils to advantages. 'Tis seldom when the bee doth leave her comb in the dead carrion. Health to my sovereign, and new happiness added to that I am to deliver? Prince John your son doth kiss your grace's hand. Mowbray, the Bishop Scroop, Hastings, and all, are brought to the correction of your law. There is not now a rebel's sword unsheathed, but peace puts forth her olive everywhere. The manner how this action hath been borne here at more leisure, may your highness read, with every cause in his particular. O Westmoreland, thou art a summer bird, which ever in the haunch of winter sings the lifting up of day. From enemies heaven keep your majesty, and when they stand against you, may they fall as those that I am come to tell you of. The Earl Northumberland and the Lord Bardolph, with a great power of English and of Scots, are by the Sheriff of Yorkshire overthrown. The manner and true order of the fight this packet, please it you, contains at large. And wherefore should these good news make me sick? Will fortune never come with both hands full, but write her fair words still in foulest letters? She either gives a stomach and no food, such are the poor in health, or else a feast and takes away the stomach. Such are the rich that have abundance and enjoy it not. I should rejoice now at this happy news, and now my sight fails and my brain is giddy. O me, come near me, now I am much ill. Be patient, princes, you do know, these fits are with his highness very ordinary. Stand from him, give him air, he'll straight be well. No, no, he cannot long hold out these pangs. The incessant care and labor of his mind hath wrought the mure that should confine it in so thin that life looks through and will break out. The people fear me, for they do observe unfathered airs and loathly births of nature. The seasons change their manners, as the year had found some months asleep and leaped them over. The river hath thrice flowed, no ebb between, and the old folk, time's doting chronicles, say it did so a little time before that our great-grandsire, Edward, sicked and died. I pray you, take me up and bear me hence into some other chamber. Softly, pray. Exeunt. Scene V. Another chamber. Let there be no noise made, my gentle friends, unless some dull and favorable hand will whisper music to my weary spirit. How now? Reign within doors and none abroad. How doth the king? Not so much noise, my lords. Sweet prince, speak low. The king your father is disposed to sleep. No, I will sit and watch here by the king. Exeunt all but the prince. Why doth the crown lie there upon his pillow, being so troublesome a bedfellow? O polished perturbation, golden care, that keeps the pots of slumber open wide to many a watchful night. Sleep with it now, yet not so sound and half so deeply sweet as he whose brow with homely biggin bound snores out the watch of night. O majesty, when thou dost pinch thy bearer, thou dost sit like a rich armor-wan in heat of day, that scalds with safety. By his gates of breath there lies a downy feather which stirs not. Did he suspire, that light and weightless down perforce must move. My gracious lord, my father? This sleep is sound indeed, this is a sleep that from this golden wriggle hath divorced so many English kings. Thy due from me is tears and heavy sorrows of the blood, which nature, love, and filial tenderness shall, O dear father, pay thee plenteously. My due from thee is this imperial crown, which, as immediate as thy place and blood, derives itself to me. Lo, here it sits, which God shall guard, and put the world's whole strength into one giant arm, it shall not force this lineal honor from me. This from thee will I to mine leave, as 'tis left to me. Exit. We left the prince my brother here, my liege, who undertook to sit and watch by you. The Prince of Wales? Where is he? Let me see him. He is not here. The prince hath ta'en it hence. Go, seek him out. Is he so hasty that he doth suppose my sleep my death? Find him, my lord of Warwick. Chide him hither. Exit Warwick. This pot of his conjoins with my disease and helps to end me. See, sons, what things you are. How quickly nature falls into revolt when gold becomes her object. For this the foolish overcareful fathers have broke their sleep with thoughts, their brains with care, their bones with industry. For this they have engrossed and piled up the cankered heaps of strange-achieved gold. For this they have been thoughtful to invest their sons with arts and martial exercises, when, like the bee, culling from every flower the virtuous sweets, our thighs packed with wax, our mouths with honey, we bring it to the hive, and, like the bees, are murdered for our pains. This bitter taste yield his engrossments to the ending father. Now, where is he that will not stay so long till his friend sickness hath determined me? My lord, I found the prince in the next room, washing with kindly tears his gentle cheeks, with such a deep demeanor in great sorrow that tyranny, which never quaffed but blood, would, by beholding him, have washed his knife with gentle eye drops. He is coming hither. Lo, where he comes. Come hither to me, Harry, depart the chamber, leave us here alone. Exeunt Warwick and the rest. Thy wish was father, Harry, to that thought. I stay too long by thee, I weary thee. Dost thou so hunger for mine empty chair, that thou wilt needs invest thee with my honours before thy hour be ripe? O foolish youth! Thou seek'st the greatness that will o'erwhelm thee. Stay but a little, for my cloud of dignity is held from falling with so weak a wind that it will quickly drop. My day is dim. Thou hast stolen that which after some few hours were thine without offence, and at my death thou hast sealed up my expectation. Thy life did manifest thou lovedst me not, and thou wilt have me die assured of it. Thou hidest 1,000 daggers in thy thoughts, which thou hast whetted on thy stony heart, to stab at half an hour of my life. What? Canst thou not forbear me half an hour? Then get thee gone and dig my grave thyself, and bid the merry bells ring to thine ear that thou art crowned, not that I am dead. Let all the tears that should bedew my hearse be drops of balm to sanctify thy head, only compound me with forgotten dust. Give that which gave thee life unto the worms. Pluck down my offices, break my decrees, for now a time is come to mock at form. Harry the Fifth is crowned. Up, vanity, down, royal state. All you sage counsellors hence, and to the English court assemble now, from every region, apes of idleness. Now, neighbour confines, purge you of your scum. Have you a ruffian that will swear, drink, dance, revel the night, rob, murder, and commit the oldest sins the newest kind of ways? Be happy, he will trouble you no more. England shall double gild his treble guilt. England shall give him office, honour, might. For the fifth Harry from curbed license plucks the muzzle of restraint, and the wild dog shall flesh his tooth on every innocent. O my poor kingdom, sick with civil blows, when that my care could not withhold thy riots, what wilt thou do when riot is thy care? Oh, thou wilt be a wilderness again, peopled with wolves, thy old inhabitants. Oh, pardon me, my liege, but for my tears, the moist impediments unto my speech, I had forestalled this dear and deep rebuke ere you with grief had spoke, and I had heard the cause of it so far. There is your crown, and he that wears the crown immortally long guard it yours. If I affect it more than as your honour and as your renown, let me no more from this obedience rise, which my most inward true and duteous spirit teacheth, this prostrate and exterior bending. God witness with me when I here came in, and found no cause of breath within your majesty, how cold it struck my heart. If I do feign, oh, let me in my present wildness die, and never live to show the incredulous world the noble change that I have purposed. Coming to look on you, thinking you dead, and dead almost, my liege, to think you were, I spake unto this crown as having sense, and thus upbraided it. The care on thee depending hath fed upon the body of my father, therefore thou best of gold art worst of gold. Other, less fine in carat, is more precious, preserving life in medicine potable. But thou, most fine, most honoured, most renowned, haste eat thy bearer up. Thus, my most royal liege, accusing it, I put it on my head, to try with it, as with an enemy that had before my face murdered my father, the quarrel of a true inheritor. But if it did infect my blood with joy, or swell my thoughts to any strain of pride, if any rebel or vain spirit of mine did with the least affection of a welcome give entertainment to the might of it, let God forever keep it from my head, and make me as the poorest vassal is that doth with awe and terror kneel to it. O my son, God put it in thy mind to take it hence, that thou mightst win the more thy father's love, pleading so wisely in excuse of it. Come hither, Harry, sit thou by my bed, and hear, I think, the very latest counsel that ever I shall breathe. God knows, my son, by what bypaths and indirect crooked ways I met this crown, and I myself know well how troublesome it sat upon my head. To thee it shall descend with better quiet, better opinion, better confirmation, for all the soil of the achievement goes with me into the earth. It seemed in me but as an honour snatched with boisterous hand, and I had many living to upbraid my gain of it by their assistances, which daily grew to quarrel and to bloodshed, wounding supposed peace. All these bold fears thou seest with peril I have answered, for all my reign hath been but as a scene acting that argument, and now my death changes the mode, for what in me was purchased falls upon thee in a more fairer sort, so thou the garland wear'st successively. Yet, though thou stand'st more sure than I could do, thou art not firm enough, since griefs are green, and all my friends, which thou must make thy friends, have but their stings and teeth newly ta'en out. By whose fell working I was first advanced, and by whose power I well might lodge a fear to be again displaced, which to avoid, I cut them off, and had a purpose now to lead out many to the Holy Land, lest rest and lying still might make them look too near unto my state. Therefore, my Harry, Be it thy cost to busy giddy minds with foreign quarrels, that action, hence borne out, may waste the memory of the former days. Ma would I, but my lungs are wasted so that strength of speech is utterly denied me. How I came by the crown, O God forgive, and grant it may with thee in true peace live. My gracious liege, you won it, wore it, kept it, gave it me. Then plain and right must my possession be, which I with more than with a common pain gainst all the world will rightfully maintain. Thou bringst me happiness and peace, son John, but health, alack, with youthful wings is flown from this bare withered trunk. Upon thy sight my worldly business makes a period. Where is my Lord of Warwick? Doth any name particular belong unto the lodging where I first did swoon? Laud be to God, even there my life must end. It hath been prophesied to me many years, I should not die but in Jerusalem, which vainly I suppose the Holy Land, but bear me to that chamber, there I'll lie, in that Jerusalem shall Harry die. Exeunt. Act v. Scene I Gloucestershire, Shallow's house. Scene Room to Westminster, the palace. He's walked the way of nature, and to our purposes he lives no more. I would his majesty had called me with him. The service that I truly did his life hath left me open to all injuries. I know he doth not, and do arm myself to welcome the condition of the time, which cannot look more hideously upon me than I have drawn it in my fantasy. Here come the heavy issue of dead Harry. Oh, that the living Harry had the temper of him, the worst of these three gentlemen. How many nobles then should hold their places, that must strike sail to spirits of vile sort? We do remember, but our argument is all too heavy to admit much talk. Oh, good my lord, you have lost a friend indeed, and I dare swear you borrow not that face of seeming sorrow, it is sure your own. Though no man be assured what grace to find, you stand in coldest expectation, I am the sorrier, would twere otherwise. Well, you must now speak Sir John Falstaff fair, which swims against your stream of quality. Sweet princes, what I did in honour, led by the impartial conduct of my soul, and never shall you see that I will beg a ragged and forestalled remission. If truth and upright innocency fail me, I'll to the king my master that is dead, and tell him who hath sent me after him. This new and gorgeous garment, majesty, sits not so easy on me as you think. Brothers, you mix your sadness with some fear. This is the English, not the Turkish cot, not Amurath and Amurath succeeds, but Harry. Yet be sad, good brothers, for by my faith, it very well becomes you. Sorrow so royally in you appears that I will deeply put the fashion on and wear it in my heart. Why then, be sad, but entertain no more of it, good brothers, than a joint burden laid upon us all. For me, by heaven, I bid you be assured I'll be your father and your brother too. Let me but bear your love, I'll bear your cares. Yet weep that Harry's dead, and so will I, but Harry lives that shall convert those tears by number into hours of happiness. You all look strangely on me, and you are, I think, assured I love you not. I am assured, if I be measured rightly, your majesty hath no just cause to hate me. No, how might a prince of my great hopes forget so great indignities you laid upon me? What? Rate, rebuke, and roughly send to prison the immediate heir of England. Was this easy? May this be washed in Lethe and forgotten? I then did use the person of your father. The image of his power lay then in me, and in the administration of his law, whiles I was busy for the Commonwealth, your highness pleased to forget my place, the majesty and power of law and justice, the image of the king whom I presented, and struck me in my very seat of judgment. Whereon, as an offender to your father, I gave bold way to my authority and did commit you. If the deed were ill, be you contented, wearing now the garland, to have a son set your decrees at naught, to pluck down justice from your awful bench, to trip the cause of law and blunt the sod that guards the peace and safety of your person. Nay, to spurn at your most royal image and mock your workings in a second body. Question your royal thoughts, make the case yours, be now the father and propose a son, hear your own dignity so much profaned, see your most dreadful laws so loosely slighted, behold yourself so by a son disdained, and then imagine me taking your part and in your power soft silencing your son. After this cold considerance, sentence me, and as you are a king, speak in your state what I have done that misbecame my place, my person, or my liege sovereignty. You are right, justice, and you weigh this well, therefore still bear the balance and the sod, and I do wish your honours may increase, till you do live to see a son of mine offend you and obey you as I did. So shall I live to speak my father's words. Happy am I, that have a man so bold, that dares do justice on my proper son, and not less happy, having such a son, that would deliver up his greatness so into the hands of justice. You did commit me, for which, I do commit into your hand the unstained sod that you have used to bear, with this remembrance, that you use the same with the like bold, just and impartial spirit as you have done gainst me. There is my hand. You shall be as a father to my youth. My voice shall sound as you do prompt mine ear, and I will stoop and humble my intents to your well-practiced wise directions. And, princes all, believe me, I beseech you. My father is gone wild into his grave, for in his tomb lie my affections, and with his spirit sadly I survive, to mock the expectation of the world, to frustrate prophecies, and to raise out rotten opinion, who hath writ me down after my seeming. The tide of blood in me hath proudly flowed in vanity till now doth it turn and ebb back to the sea, where it shall mingle with the state of floods and flow henceforth in formal majesty. Now call we our high court of parliament, and let us choose such limbs of noble counsel, that the great body of our state may go in equal rank with the best governed nation, that war, or peace, or both at once, may be as things acquainted and familiar to us, in which you, father, shall have foremost hand. Our coronation done, we will acquite, as I before remembered, all our state, and, God consigning to my good intents, no prince nor peer shall have just cause to say, God shorten Harry's happy life one day. Exeunt. Scene Roman 3, Gloucestershire. Shallows Orchard. Ah, sirrah, quoth they, we shall do nothing but eat and make good cheer, singing and praise God for the merry year, when flesh is cheap and females dear, and lusty lads roam here and there so merrily, and ever among so merrily. Be merry, my wife has all. Singing for women are shrews, both short and tall. 'Tis merry in hall when beards wag all, and welcome merry Shrovetide. Be merry. A cup of wine that's brisk and fine, singing and drink unto the lemon mine, and a merry hot lives long a. Fill the cup and let it come, singing I'll pledge you a mile to the bottom. Do me right, singing and dub me knight, Samingo. Is't not so? Puff, puff in thy teeth, most recreant coward base, Sir John. I am thy pistol and thy friend, and helter-skelter have I rode to thee, and tidings do I bring, and lucky joys and golden times, and happy news of price. A fouter for the world and worldlings base, I speak of Africa and golden joys. O base Assyrian knight, what is thy news? Let King Cophetua know the truth thereof. And Robin Hood, Scarlet, and John, singing, shall dunghill curs confront the Helicons, and shall good news be baffled? Then, pistol, lay thy head in Fury's lap. A fouter for thine office, Sir John, thy tender lambkin now is king. Harry the Fifth's the man. I speak the truth, when pistol lies, do this, and fig me like the bragging Spaniard. O joyful day, I would not take a knighthood for my fortune. Let vultures vile seize on his lungs also. Where is the life that late I led? Say they, why, here it is, welcome these pleasant days. Exeunt. Scene Roman 4, London. A street, scene via public place near Westminster Abbey. My knight, I will inflame thy noble liver, and make thee rage. Thy doll, and Helen of thy noble thoughts, is in base durance and contagious prison. Haled thither by most mechanical and dirty hand, rouse up revenge from ebon den with fell Electo's snake, for doll is in. Pistol speaks not but truth. I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. How ill white has become a fool and jester? I have long dreamed of such a kind of man, so surfeit-swelled, so old and so profane, but being awaked, I do despise my dream. Make less thy body hence and mar thy grace. Leave gormandizing. Know the grave doth gape for thee thrice wider than for other men. Reply not to me with a fool-born jest. Presume not that I am the thing I was, for God doth know, so shall the world perceive, that I have turned away my former self. So will I those that kept me company. When thou dost hear I am as I have been, approach me, and thou shalt be as thou wast, the tutor and the feeder of my riots. Till then, I banish thee, on pain of death, as I have done the rest of my misleaders, not to come near our person by 10 mile. For competence of life I will allow you, that lack of means enforce you not to evil. And as we hear you do reform yourselves, we will, according to your strengths and qualities, give you advancement. Be it your charge, my lord, to see performed the tenor of our word. Set on. Exeunt King, etc. Go, carry Sir John Falstaff to the fleet, take all his company along with him. I cannot now speak, I will hear you soon. Take them away. I like this fair proceeding of the king's. He hath intent his wanted followers shall all be very well provided for, but all are banished till their conversations appear more wise and modest to the world. I will lay odds that, ere this year expire, we bear our civil swords and native fire as far as France. I bid a bird so sing, whose music, to my thinking, pleased the king. Come, will you hence? Exeunt. Coloff and Henry Roman 4. Part Roman 2 was published in 1597 by William Shakespeare. This ebook was produced for Standard eBooks by Emma Sweeney, and is based on a transcription produced in 1993 by Jeremy Hilton for the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and on digital scans from the Hathai Trust Digital Library. The cover page is adapted from Sir John Falstaff, reviewing his Ragged Regiment, a painting completed in 1858 by John Gilbert. The cover and title pages feature the League Spartan and Sots Mill Gaudi typefaces created in 2014 and 2009 by the League of Movable Type. This edition was released on July 8, 2025, 6:53 p.m., and is based on Revision B 2653 FF. The first edition of this ebook was released on July 5, 2021, 5:25 p.m. You can check for updates to this ebook, view its revision history, or download it for different e-reading systems at standardbooksorg/ebooks/William Shakespeare/Henry Roman 4 Part Roman 2. The volunteer-driven Standard eBooks project relies on readers like you to submit typos, corrections, and other improvements. Anyone can contribute at Standard.org. Dramatis Personae Ruma, the presenter King Henry IV Henry, Prince of Wales, afterwards King Henry V, his son Thomas, Duke of Clarence, his son Prince John of Lancaster, his son Prince Humphrey of Gloucester, his son Earl of Warwick, Earl of Westmoreland, Earl of Surrey, Gower, Harcourt, Blunt, Lord Chief Justice of the King's Bench, a servant of the Chief Justice Earl of Northumberland Scroop, Archbishop of York, Lord Mowbray, Lord Hastings, Lord Bardolph, Sir John Colville, Travers and Martin, retainers of Northumberland, Sir John Falstaff, his page Bardolph, Pistol, Poins, Pete O'Shallow, Country Justice Silence, Country Justice Davy, servant to Shallow Mouldy, Shadow, Watt, Feeble, and Bullcough, recruits Fang and Snare, sheriff's officers Lady Northumberland, Lady Percy, Mistress Quickly, hostess of a tavern in Eastcheap, dull tear-sheet lords and attendants, potter, draws, beadles, grooms, etc. Dancer, speaker of the epilogue scene, England, epilogue first my fear, then my courtesy, last my speech. My fear is your displeasure, my courtesy, my duty, and my speech, to beg your pardons. If you look for a good speech now, you undo me, for what I have to say is of mine own making, and what indeed I should say will, I doubt, prove mine own marring. But to the purpose, and so to the venture. Be it known to you, as it is very well, I was lately here in the end of a displeasing play, to pray your patience for it, and to promise you a better. I meant indeed to pay you with this, which, if like an ill venture it come unluckily home, I break, and you, my gentle creditors, lose. Here I promised you I would be, and here I commit my body to your mercies. Bate me some, and I will pay you some, and, as most debt is due, promise you infinitely. If my tongue cannot entreat you to acquit me, will you command me to use my legs? And yet that were but light payment, to dance out of your debt. But a good conscience will make any possible satisfaction, and so would I. All the gentlewomen here have forgiven me. If the gentlemen will not, then the gentlemen do not agree with the gentlewomen, which was never seen before in such an assembly. One word more, I beseech you. If you be not too much cloyed with fat meat, our humble author will continue the story, with Sir John in it, and make you merry with fair Catharine of France, where, for anything I know, Falstaff shall die of a sweat, unless already a be killed with your hard opinions. For old Castle died a martyr, and this is not the man. My tongue is weary. When my legs are too, I will bid you good night, and so kneel down before you, but indeed, to pray for the Queen. Henry Roman 4, Part Roman 2,